The propaganda technique we'll be looking at is the straw man fallacy. It's one of the most commonly used rhetorical tricks, but also one of the hardest to spot. Let's start off with an example to see how it works. Suppose my friend Audrey presents the following argument. Since so many Americans today suffer from obesity and diabetes, I think we should all support the mayor's ban on all restaurants with soda fountains from providing cups larger than 16 ounces. And let's say I respond with the following objection. I'm sorry, I can't support a law that strips away our freedom of choice and makes drinking soda a crime. Is this a valid response to Audrey's argument? No, because Audrey never argues for making drinking soda a crime. That's not her argument at all. In this scenario, I've committed the straw man fallacy by attacking an argument that Audrey was never making. When you straw man someone, you misrepresent their position or argument to make it easier to attack, usually by exaggerating, distorting, or just completely fabricating it. So let's say you make an argument or take a position on something. Then your opponent presents a distorted version of your argument while pretending there's no difference between your version and his version. And his version of your argument is the straw man. After doing so, your opponent attacks his version of the argument while ignoring your version. So rather than attacking your actual position, which may have some merit, he instead attacks his own distorted version and hopes no one will notice, including you. Going back to Audrey, by exaggerating and distorting Audrey's position, I was able to make it seem more extreme than it actually was. My straw man also shifted the argument away from ways to reduce how much soda people drink to a debate on whether people should drink soda at all. And I did this to make Audrey's argument easier to attack. Straw men are also often used in politics to help politicians avoid answering questions they don't want to answer. To see how this works, let's take a look at another example. A reporter asks, Mr. Vice President, there are deep questions about your response to the pandemic, with many saying it was too little too late. What do you say to your critics that say you failed the American people in your response to the pandemic? The Vice President says, I'm glad you asked that question because I want to take this opportunity to praise every American for how hard they've fought to get through this pandemic. And on that note, I'm sorry, but I don't agree that we failed to respond effectively. Doing that would be a disservice to the American people. Is this a valid response to the question? No, because the politician responds to a question that was never asked. The question was about his response to accusations of him failing to handle the pandemic. But the politician responds to accusations of the average American failing to handle a pandemic. So not only does the politician avoid answering the question, he becomes a champion for all Americans by defending them against an accusation that was never made. So remember, in order to identify a straw man when one is constructed, it's really important to grasp the real argument being made to make sure at some point along the way it doesn't get turned into a straw man.